I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Κι εγώ, ο Νίκος Σαμίδης.
Maybe you were born in Athens. Or maybe you were yours.
Ίσως μεγάλωσες μιλώντας σου ελληνικά. Ή ίσως είσαι το ξαδελφάκι που φεύγει για Ντουμπάι για δουλειά για 1 χρόνο μόνο.
Wherever you are in the world, if Greece lives in your heart.
Αυτό το ταξίδι είναι για σένα. Φύγαμε.
Welcome to the Greek Podyssey, another wonderful episode. Thank you for following us and following our journey. We hope you're enjoying every episode. Every episode is going to be different. Today, we have an extra special episode. We are interviewing this wonderful lady that her name is Cara West. I found her on Instagram and I was intrigued with the fact that she lived in America, Austin, Texas, and she has moved to Greece and lives on the island of Syros, which Nico and I had goosebumps when we found out because not long ago, our previous interview was with Syros, someone from Syros. So it's like meant to happen. Syros is around us today. But before we go any further,
let's go to our sponsors and we're coming back.
This podcast brought to you by Roasting Warehouse.
From Melbourne
to Brisbane,
and now in Athens,
Roasting Warehouse, shaping the global coffee culture.
dream big.
And life is better with great coffee. Roasting Warehouse.
Okay, so without any further delay, no further ado, we're thrilled to welcome Cara West to the Greek Podyssey to find out Cara's story, why she wanted to leave America, and why she chose Greece, and in particular, the island of Syros, what her experiences have been, how she's acclimatized, how she's blended in with the locals. We want to hear it all. Welcome, Cara West, to the Greek Podyssey.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk with you all.
Excellent. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about the Cara West story and why you decided to leave the States and the journey from there.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Let me take you back to 2022. A very special year for myself and my husband. We welcomed our daughter, Zora. And I was so excited to become a new mom. And we were lucky enough to be in Austin, Texas at the time. And we had some great benefits as far as my husband was able to take off 2 weeks of paternity leave, which is pretty rare in the States to have any time off as a dad. And those first 2 weeks were just so special, bonding with our daughter. And after those 2 weeks, it was really difficult postpartum wise. I didn't have the help that I needed. My husband was working crazy hours as a restaurant manager. And also my maternity leave was coming to an end, something that I also had to fight really hard for because in the United States, your maternity leave is dictated by your employer and not at the federal level. So I had to beg before I even had my daughter to get the maternity leave, adequate maternity leave. So I ended up getting 10 weeks. So shortly after that time, my husband and I were working opposite shifts from each other, just trying to save on childcare costs as much as we could, especially in a really expensive city like Austin. And I would say probably 6 months in, I looked at him, I started just crying to him saying, we work so hard and this is the life that we have. We're never seeing each other. We don't have time for one another. We're at the point where we need to put our daughter in daycare and I want to be able to spend that time with each other as a family. So that was really the biggest thing that was driving that, just really becoming a new mom in the US and finding that the US really does not care about families and children like they say they do because there's no services for us, and no resources for us. I started doing some research and on TikTok, I happened to find a woman who was living in Mexico. And she was just talking about, as a Black woman, how much peace she was having abroad and her cost of living was much lower. She was able to retire at a much earlier age and just enjoy life. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to live abroad, but I thought that time had passed me by because I had finished college and I really thought about studying abroad in college, but I thought, okay, I'm older now. Maybe I'll do this when I'm older, but I didn't think having a young family, I'd be able to live abroad. But seeing her story, something really resonated with me. And I thought maybe this could be something that we could do. And of course, being in Texas, Mexico was really close. So I started looking into how to move to Mexico. And in my search, I connected with other world schooling families. So families who teach their children through travel. And I asked someone, we're not ready to take the leap all the way, but does anybody have a setup where they live part-time in their home country and part-time abroad? And I had someone reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, we've just finished up this program called Boundless Life. We've just left Portugal and we're headed to Greece next. You should check it out. So I went to their website and thought, oh my goodness, this is exactly what we're looking for. They offered 3-month programs currently at their locations in Portugal, and they had a location in Syros, Greece. So I told my husband about it. I said, I think we should try this out. It's only 3 months. We could see what this is like to live abroad. If we don't like it, we come back, everything's back to normal. So we joined Boundless Life. We decided to go January through March of 2023. And we lived in central Portugal for those 3 months. And I never felt more at home, at peace. I have always dreamed about living in Europe, and I was so happy. And I remember 2 weeks before we were about to leave to go back to the States, I had a breakdown every single day about returning to the US. And I knew that this is the life I wanted for us. And so we started to make a plan of, okay, what would this look like to sell everything? Our cars, our furniture, most of our possessions, get my husband out of debt. How do we get him remote work, or at least for him to step away from his job because it was an in-person job? And we were able to accomplish that within, I would say, 6 months.
Wow.
And then we ended up doing another Boundless Life cohort. Funny enough, we were supposed to go to Italy, and last minute they told us that they didn't have any space for our daughter in their cohort in Italy. And they said, would you be open to going to Greece? And we're like, oh, that wasn't on our list, but sure, we'll go. Like, it's a beautiful country. I think
Let's
we'll
give
have
it
a
a
great
go.
time. Yeah. So we ended up going. We fell in love with the island of Syros. And we even went, actually, after we went to Syros, we were there fall of 2023. So we spent 3 months in Syros. And we came back to the States for Christmas and then went to Mexico to go check it out. And I remember the first week in Mexico, I had another mental breakdown. I started crying and I told my husband, like, this is not where we're supposed to be. I know where we're supposed to be. So we ended up finding a place to come back in the spring, try it again, see if Syros was really that place for us. Was it the honeymoon stage, or was it really what we needed for our family? And within the first 2 weeks of coming back to Syros, we knew immediately this is home, and we applied for our visa to stay.
Wow. What part of Syros?
We're actually in the city of Hermopolis.
Beautiful. And under what visa have you managed to stay in Greece?
Yeah, so we actually applied for the Greek digital nomad visa from within Greece. So we applied for the residency visa, which gave us 2 years in the country.
Beautiful. And then you have the option to renew it. Is that correct?
Yes. So the great thing about the digital nomad visa is it's a path to permanent residency. So the first 2 years, you're able to renew it for another 2 years. And at that point, then you can actually apply for your permanent residency.
That's beautiful, Cara. That's
We're so excited.
good.
We love beautiful people moving. And Syros is the island I love. So when you said to me you lived in Syros, my goosebumps just went whoop. So what's day-to-day life for you like? How have you acclimatized? What are the locals like? Have they embraced you? Have you embraced them? We just want to hear all about what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. As Syros is such a magical island, Greece, we've traveled through the mainland of Greece. We've traveled to many of the islands at this point. And the people in Greece are just so incredibly kind. They're just genuinely kind, so helpful, and they love children. So for us as a young family wanting to raise our daughter in a safe place, the one thing that I hope that she walks away from this experience is I just want her to learn how to be kind. And that is truly something that I know that she will learn from the local Greek people. And yeah, our day it's so peaceful. The island, because we live there most of the year. So in the summertime we travel, but we're there pretty much from September to June. And so with that, we are not really there during the peak season where there's a lot of tourists. So we really get to get the feel of what local life is like. So we always get the question of, oh my gosh, how are you on the islands in the winter?
Syros is
But
different, though, to other islands in
it's
the winter.
very different. Yes, there's a lot of local life still happening in the wintertime in Syros, which makes it perfect because we really still have all those amenities that we like. The shops and the restaurants are pretty much still all open. We have the hospital. So we actually have private care for our daughter, and she goes to a play group 3 times out of the week. So that's been really great because she's with local Greek children.
You're giving her the gift of another language as well. So she'll obviously learn to
Yes.
speak Greek, which is fabulous.
Yes. Yeah, it's been really great. She is picking it up. She'll probably pick it up faster than me.
How are you going with your Greek?
I'm starting to learn more and more. I think the hardest thing is just having the confidence to speak it in public and not worrying about, am I pronouncing this right? Is this sounding right? But yeah, I have actually started working with a tutor. So that has been really helpful just to have more conversational Greek than just
That's the only
learning
way to
through
learn.
the AI learning apps.
Kalimera, Cara. Πώς είσαι? Would you know how to reply?
Kala?
Delia.
I want to ask you, Cara, how did you find the locals there? They were polite with you? Because me as a Greek, I think that the community and family community are key values for our lives, our culture. Did you had the chance to experience that?
Oh, 1,000%. That was one of the biggest things that drew us to Syros. I feel for us, we've traveled a lot now. And one of the things that really stands out about Syros is the community. We have a community of digital nomad families who are there from the US and Canada, but also we have so many friends who are local to the island as well. And that has been the biggest blessing for our family is just having community. I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm Belle in the Beauty and the Beast
Yeah.
village because I walk out and I know the people at the bakery and the people at the market. And I'm constantly stopping. I always tell my husband, I need to have at least an additional 15 minutes before I have to be somewhere because I know I'm going to run into some.
That's
Isn't
true.
that the
Dog do.
best? I love that. I love that. You walk through, I've got my hairdresser there, the big spice markets there, the taverna in the back street, Petrino, my favorite, where they play
Yeah.
the live music. I go there and I just feel alive in Syros, but I also feel like I'm with a family. And when they say it takes a village to raise a child, you actually have that village around you now because there will always be
Yes.
someone that will be there to lend you a helping hand.
And smaller communities like the islanders, they live a simpler life. It's not like Athens. It's not, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the people in big
It's
cities.
just the lifestyle.
But big cities creates more stress.
Yeah.
So people being isolated from communities, from socializing and all that kind of things. But in the islands, they know that's the way they're living. They support one each other. You go out to go to the supermarket and you have to stop, as Cara said, 10 times for someone to say, please come in, come on, have a coffee, have a cookie, have a
It's great.
raki or whatever. And that, for me, that's a blessing.
How do you entertain? Do you have a group of friends? Do you go to restaurants? What's a night out or a day out for Cara and family?
Socialize.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we love so much about Syros too is the platia. So we're constantly always there with the kids.
Love
It's
it.
just such a cool gathering space. We always know that, hey, if there's nothing else to do, let's just go to the platia. We know we're going to see other families who are there. The kids are all out with their scooters, especially in the evening time. That's one of my favorite times to be out there because all the parents are sitting around and having either coffee or wine. And the kids are they're playing without a care in the
And it's
world. Sometimes
safe.
we even have, oh, it's so safe. I told my husband when we first moved to Syros, and we were just out and about that night and they actually had a projector. So they had a movie night going on. So all the kids were like sitting at the steps and watching the movie. But then you had some kids playing ball and rolling their scooters around. And I told my husband, I said, I feel like I'm at Disneyland. This is like,
It's
almost like
surreal.
it was just so perfect, so safe, so family friendly. And you've got the beautiful architecture and the lights and the shops. It truly did. It really felt like I was walking down Main Street at Disneyland.
How amazing is the town hall there where the square is?
Oh, it's so
It's
beautiful.
magnificent. And when they put up the stage in the platia and they have a concert or... I'm sure we probably passed each other in the street. I was there last
Yes.
year. We probably did. But we will definitely catch up and I'll introduce you to a few key people in Syros. make some new friends. And I said, you've got to look after Cara because
Yeah.
she's been on the Greek Podyssey and she's our friend and family.
She's Greek now.
You're Greek now.
Look, there is this feeling that we have for people that when they feel Greeks, when they feel the Greekness inside them, do you feel that?
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, I do. It's so funny because when we leave Greece now, we travel in the summertime. So we're about to start all of our summer travels right now. And we actually just recently went to Croatia. And it's just a different feeling. Even when I come back to the United States, I just think even the kindness of the Greek people it's worn up on me. I find that I'm even kinder when I come back to the States with my friends, with my family, with strangers. I see people. One of the things I tell people all the time too is just once you start traveling, especially traveling through Greece, like people are just so helpful. And anytime I see someone who's lost or I'm like, can I help you?
Okay.
Whereas before I'm so conditioned in the United States to just, you're so individual and you're not really paying attention to anybody else but
Exactly.
yourself. And so now, yeah, it's just so different.
It's-
I go back
you know
to my
what?
mom's
You've
house. I
acqui-
talk
you-
to the neighbors.
You've acquired philotimo.
Oh,
That's it.
what does this mean? I need to know.
Okay,
There is no
philotimo
explanation
is the
about
one word that cannot be, there's no definition. It is a state of being. It's what you just described. It's being helpful. It's being conscious of the people around you, wanting to give, wanting to help, being considerate. All of that encapsulates philotimo. But if you look it up, there's no definition for it. And you now
Wow.
have the Greek philotimo.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for teaching me this.
Okay.
So
Can
beautiful.
I test your Greekness?
Here we go.
Yes,
Okay,
let's
let's
see.
play a game.
Okay.
Okay, you live in an island which is very famous about specific genre of music. What's that?
Oh my gosh. I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're
You
talking
know
about.
what we're
though.
talking about.
So
yeah.
we call
Yes, but I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
so we talk about rebetiko. It's the Greek blues.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And who's the godfather?
Oh, that's
Oh,
a bit.
definitely don't know
That's
this
hard.
one.
Marcos Vamvakaris.
So
There's a statue of him in Hermopolis in front of one of the hotels at the port. Marcos.
Oh,
And then when you go up to Syros, you'll find the Marcos Vamvakaris Museum. So it's worth going to. I'm sure you've obviously been to Syros up there in since the time.
yes.
Yeah.
The view is amazing.
It is, isn't it?
okay, second. Lukumi. What is it?
Yes, if I've had it a couple of times, and it's like almost like a jelly type,
Exactly.
almost, but with powdered sugar.
Exactly.
Delicious.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's deadly. It's the
With-
same.
with powdered sugar.
Be careful. Sometimes it's deadly.
You've got to be. You don't take a deep breath when you're eating it. Now, food and cuisine in Texas is very, very different to food in Greece. How are you finding the Mediterranean cuisine compared to what you left behind in Texas? The big ribs, the big steaks, the big burgers, and now you've gone to Greece, which is it's a clean diet. How are you finding the differences in the two cuisines?
Yeah, great question. This is another huge reason for us why we wanted to leave the US and to live abroad. We find that the food is so incredibly processed in the US. The portion sizes are so big. My husband and I are quite like health conscious and also eat primarily plant-based diet as well too. So coming to Greece and having the Mediterranean diet has been incredible. And I think we're really spoiled now because everywhere else we go, the food just does not compare.
Do you
Great.
love how you're out
Oh.
in the fields and you can smell the thyme in the bushes, or you can
Yes.
walk and think, oh, I need some rosemary, and you pick it, or I need some, and you can just pick these fresh herbs and go home and just cook a simple and delicious meal. You've got your beautiful butcher,
Yes.
you know, the creativity in cooking. What's your Greek cooking skills like? Are you picking up
I was
any?
ready to ask that.
You were going to ask that?
Actually, we're actually going to be taking a cooking class this week. We're in Athens currently right now. So there is a cooking class that I've been wanting to take called Soybird, and they actually do vegan versions of a lot of like different Greek dishes. So I'm really excited to do that. And there's also a really incredible cooking class in Syros as well too. I'm actually hosting a group trip this October,
Wonderful.
and we're doing a cooking class with her at her villa called Villa Maria.
Are you a vegan?
No, we actually used to be vegan, but we're pescatarian at this point. But yeah, so
Syros is a
we
beautiful
do
place to
primarily
be
eat plant-based.
pescatarian.
What a place to be a pescatarian.
The seafood is incredible.
Yeah. But even if you are a vegan,
If
so
you're
many of
vegetarian
the-
or vegan,
that's,
I
you
think
know,
many
when we've got
dishes, Greek dishes.
imam baldi, the eggplant with the onions and tomatoes, or okra,
Γεμιστά,
or stuffed tomatoes, vegetables. There's a plethora.
φασολάκια,
Fasolada.
σπανάκι.
I'm excited because I'm leaving next Sunday. So
Yeah,
this
and
for
I'm
me
jealous.
is
She's
ju-
excited, and I am jealous. And how good is you walk out of your door and you find the open market, you grab a tomato and you smell it, and it smells tomato. How good is that, Cara?
Oh my gosh, it's been the best. And I feel like that's been one thing I talk about to people is it's both a challenge, but also to me, a really great benefit of living abroad is that in the United States, you're used to going to one supermarket only, and you're getting everything, right? But here it is so different. We're going to the bakery to get one thing. We're going to the market to get all of our fresh fruits and vegetables. And that, although it takes more time, you're getting things that are fresh, they're local versus going to the grocery store and just getting all these processed foods. So that's definitely been a big change for us, but also like we feel so much better because we're eating so much more cleaner than we were in the US.
What have you missed from Texas?
Honestly, not much. The biggest things are really convenience, but I do find that like Syros is really great as far as I can still get my groceries delivered. We have the Walt delivery. So if I want to have food delivered, I can have that. I think that's really like the biggest change is I'm used to being in the States and being like, oh, let me order this on Amazon and it'll be here either today or tomorrow.
I spent 5 weeks on the island of Syros, and the house I was staying at, washing machine was playing up, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do now? So I looked through and I found a plumber. And here in Australia, if you call a plumber out for a service call, you're looking minimum $300 call out fee. He arrived within 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and he fixed it. And then I said, how much do I owe you? And he said, 20 euros. I went, what?
Yeah, I believe it.
I said, take 30. I was just blown away. And, you know,
Or
the
they'll even
service-
say, oh, pay me later. And you're like, let me pay you now.
yeah, they say, pay me later. It's just that thing of, no, don't worry about it. Fix me up or absolutely love it. Do you drive on the island? Have you got a car?
So we don't have a car, but I find that because we're in the city, everything's super walkable.
Yeah.
The only time that we really do rent a car is typically if we want to go out to the countryside or if we want to go to some of the beaches that are further away that take a little bit longer of a taxi ride. So normally what we do is at least like once or twice out of the month, we'll rent a car and go around
that's
the island.
Because I used to drive because I had long distances organizing a wedding, and I'd find little porcupines. And I'd have to stop on the road because they had the mother porcupine and her little babies crossing the road. That was one of
Aw.
the cutest things.
Gosh.
Absolutely gorgeous at night. And I'd get out and I'd make sure no cars were coming by.
Oh, you're the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Like an animal lover. What about, have you seen the cats? You know how you walk down the stairs through the archways in Vaporia and there's the cat park. Someone set up
Yeah.
a cat park, and this vet, he neuters all the cats, and there's a garden there, and he's trained people to feed them, and he's got little benches and whatever, because the cats of Syros are very well known. There's lots of
Yes.
cats. And this vet has trained the locals on how to look at, and he dissects the cats to make sure that they don't have an explosion of, but that's what I love. The people actually love the animals as well and take care of them.
Cara, let me ask you something. Now that's a very juicy part. How do you find Greek bureaucracy? How do you find, is it easy to deal with the
Right.
public sector? Is your life easy when you have to do jobs like that?
Oh, I think our first introduction to this has been the long wait for our visa. Thankfully, we had a attorney help us with all of the visa paperwork, which has been so incredibly helpful because a lot of times people don't know that you have to translate all of those documents into Greek. So It has to be done properly because if anything is out of place, it can hold up your application.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we were lucky enough to have an incredible immigration attorney who we found through expat law. So she helped us with that process. But I will say, in comparison to other digital nomad visas that you can get, for example, in Spain and in Portugal, the process is much quicker. We had to wait almost a year to hear back on the decision for our visa, whereas in Portugal and Spain, you're hearing back probably within a month, 2 months, 3 months at the most. So that was really tough because obviously we're a traveling family as well too. So it was really hard just trying to figure out, okay, if we leave, we have to return from the States, or we're going to have to wait 90 days to come back in, even though we're in processing for our visa, just waiting for that approval. So every time I would tell people, we're still waiting, they're like, didn't you do that last year? I know.
Yes.
Sitting on somebody's desk somewhere.
Yeah.
And how about your everyday transactions and interactions with the bureaucracy, the Greek bureaucracy?
Honestly, that's really been the only thing that we've really experienced any challenges with. But otherwise, I feel like, yeah, life is it's very peaceful. But at the same time, I think you do have to get used to just the slowness of things. Things are, I think in the US, we're just, everything is a sense of urgency all the time versus here, you just have to, you have
But
to be
don't you
patient.
think that sense of urgency creates this anxiety in us?
Yes.
It just builds up. And when you live with that anxiety, it becomes a part of your life and you don't even realize that you're living it because you don't know any different. It's only when you remove yourself from a certain situation that you think, oh my God, what was I living back then? Look what I'm living now. When you've
Yeah.
got something to compare to, that's when you know you've made the right decision with how you feel emotionally when you've removed yourself from one situation and put yourself in another. Is that what you have, how you've analyzed it when moving from there to here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that really stands out to me is I work remotely and I work with US clients, and also my coworkers are either based in the US or in Canada. And so it's always funny when I'm working remotely and we've got emails or I'm getting Slack messages and everything is an emergency. And I'm like, you guys, it's not an emergency. It's
Yeah.
fine. But I think it's just because I'm living abroad and I'm living a much slower pace of life. It's just interesting that everything is like on fire.
Are you taking your afternoon naps,
Yes.
Cara?
Oh, yes. Gotta have the siesta now. I've
That's
embraced
a
this.
way.
Yeah, you've definitely become Greek when you have that siesta. With our, I don't know about on your social media, we get quite a few trolls that talk about, oh, you're nationalistic. No, we're not. Our podcast is about Hellenism, about Philhellenes. We love people that have embraced Greek culture. We love everybody. So you're someone that lived in the States and you've chosen to live in Greece, and we love that because we see you as a Philhellene. And it's about Hellenism. Your daughter's going to learn Greek. You're going to learn Greek. You're learning to cook Greek, and it's all about keeping our culture alive. It doesn't matter through who or what means or what part of the world.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be in Greece, and it doesn't have to be with Greek people.
Yeah.
And you probably will end up being more Greek than Australian-born or American-born Greeks that have lost touch with their Hellenic roots. And you will continue the language and the culture more so than kids that live abroad. And the purpose of our podcast is to unite the Greeks of the diaspora, to bring them back to Greece and connect them with their Hellenic roots. And you're part of that journey, which is, you know, why we're so thrilled and we've been so excited about this interview.
Oh,
Next
well,
question.
Thank you.
How are you finding Greek music and Greek dance?
Oh my gosh, so fun. We actually went to Ikaria last year.
Say no more.
And it's, oh my gosh, one of the most, I've always been really interested. Obviously, we've practiced veganism and I've been primarily plant-based. It's somewhere I've always wanted to visit because it's a blue zone. And we
Boho
went
Island.
last year. Yeah.
It's a boho island. Yeah.
So we went there last year and we went to this incredible winery. And actually, the family who owns it, they were actually featured on the Netflix series about the Blue Zones. And they set up the most lovely dinner for us. We had a wine tasting, and then they also did the Greek dancing for us as well, too. And it was just family. So we had the kids join us, and there had to have been about like maybe 8 to 6 families. And yeah, it was just so much fun. And I just, what I love about just the Greek culture and just the Greek people is this love for life. And I find that in the music and the dancing, you just feel this just passion for just living life and just loving people. And it really is. It feels like home.
It feels like a big hug,
Feels like
doesn't it?
home.
The big family.
Yes.
Even cooking becomes an event because everybody gets involved. And then the mealtime, it's an event. It's not just let's eat and run. It's an occasion. And time stands still and you savor that moment. You're in the moment, in the zone. And it's
Yeah.
just a beautiful feeling. The old grandmothers in the street. I saw something today. They said the best newspaper in Greece is the grandmother on the balcony. You will walk past and she will know where you're from. She will know what work you do. She will know everything about you as
Civilians'
community.
cameras.
Yes,
In
so
a Greek
true.
way. Okay, we said a lot of good things about Greece and Syros. Tell me something that you
Negative.
didn't like it, like that was negative to you.
Or hard to adjust to.
Oh gosh, honestly, that's a really hard question because we really have not had very many challenges. I think the biggest challenge for us was really just the wait on the visa approval process, only because we are a traveling family. So we're constantly traveling for work as far as working with different brands. And so that was definitely a challenge of just figuring out the logistics and making sure that we weren't either overstaying or we could get back into Greece if we weren't coming back from the United States. So really just the bureaucracy, I feel like, is really the only thing that we've really had a challenge about. I get a question all the time about the language, like if that has been a problem for us. And I would say most people do speak some English. So we really haven't had too many issues as far as like a language barrier. I think that has been so helpful for us just to be able to assimilate and acclimate to Greece and not feel like we can't communicate, because I think that's a
Would be a
really
problem.
hard. Yes, for sure. And I feel like we really experienced that when we went to Mexico. Even though we were in a place where there was a lot of American tourists, I thought, oh, we'll be fine. I know a little bit of Spanish, so we can get by. And it was really difficult. And that was like one of the biggest challenges that we had there. And so I always get that question about Greece. And I tell people all the time I had a bigger issue in Mexico than I do here in Greece. So that's been great. But I don't have any challenges. I will say a challenge for us right now is we really would love to have a year-round place in Syros, but it's really tough and something that we deal with as a digital nomad family, and also too the locals have this problem as well too, is that tourism is such a boost for the economy that it's really hard and challenging trying to find
An
affordable housing.
accommodation.
So
Is everything Airbnb,
Yeah.
is it?
yeah, for the most part, yeah. So we have a rental that we have from fall to spring, but in the summertime, the reason why we travel is because they rent it out as an Airbnb. So it's really tough trying to find somewhere that's a year-round rental where we're not paying almost $2,000 a month, because essentially what they'll do is if you find somewhere that is a year-round rental, they increase your monthly cost so that they make up for what they could have lost in the summertime for
Sure.
you
Have you-
being in that rental long term.
Have you considered to purchase the property in the island?
Yeah, that's actually our goal. We love, actually, one of the things my husband and I do all the time is we take our long walks throughout the city, and we're constantly taking note of, okay, this one's for sale. Okay, there's this abandoned building. We would love, love, love to restore a building.
Wow.
That is our
Aren't they beautiful,
dream
the
in the next 3
buildings?
years.
Oh,
They're incredible. I literally have like
buildings
goosebumps
there.
talking about them. They're so
Stone
beautiful.
buildings, the big stones.
Oh my God.
big
When
the-
I was there last year,
Yes.
I noticed all the beautiful doors, and I did a
Yes.
collage of photos. And some people from Syros said to me, Christine, we're seeing Syros through different eyes because we haven't noticed the things you notice, because they take it for granted. It's like in any place.
Yeah.
When you're a
Mhm.
tourist, things. And I went, wow. So I went and took all these photos, and the doors were spectacular. And the people
Yeah.
from Syros saying, you're just amazing with what you're showing us of our island. And that's why I love traveling. I was wanted to ask you, your little girl now, it's a little girl, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Dora.
Zora.
Yes, Zora, beautiful name.
Mhm.
She's in daycare, but at some stage she'll start school, and you need that continuity. Are you you've got to lay roots somewhere. When she's at that school age and she's having her education, do you envisage that being back in Texas, or can you see yourself raising your child in Greece? when you can't stop
Absolutely.
and change and travel, when there's school and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny. Actually, my husband and I just recently had this conversation just a
Okay.
couple weeks ago. But this is another driver for me as why we decided to live abroad. The biggest catalyst was we were living in Austin at the time of the Uvalde shooting, and many children were in a mass shooting at a school. And these are elementary school kids. And when this happened, I told myself, I cannot send my child to school here. I don't feel comfortable sending her to daycare here. And I want to be able to know I drop her off and I get to pick her up at the end of the day. And this was like the biggest thing for me of, okay, I've got to get my daughter out. I think that's really what lit the fire
Yeah.
underneath me. It was always a dream to do this, but when that happened, it was almost a necessity
It
to get
was,
her
yeah.
out. So now there's a really lovely private school in Syros called LaSalle. And so we've looked into that. We actually have some friends as well, too, who are enrolling their kids. They're actually from Connecticut. They're enrolling their kids into LaSalle this fall. So they have had just really great experiences. We've got plenty of friends who have their kids in this particular school as well. So that's really what I think we'll do for her. And I think it's great because she's really getting the exposure to the Greek language now. So by the
Yeah.
time she's ready to go to school, it's an easier transition for her. And then in the summertime, we do still plan to travel
Yeah.
and put her into different alternative schools, camps like green schools and
She'll
forest
have
schools.
such.
And
I saw something on Instagram. It was horrifying. There was a mum that was in America teaching her little girl, she would have been all of 7, how to play dead if there was a shooting in the school. And she's saying, don't
Yep.
breathe. And I'm thinking, imagine having that anxiety every day, sending your child to school and knowing potentially there will be a shooter, and you're having to teach your child at that tender age how to play dead. So the shooter, like, horrifying. That
Yeah.
for me would be the biggest incentive to just think, nah, that's not for me. I'm just going to go somewhere where I don't have to live
I
that
think
stress
that was
every
a
day.
key factor for
Yeah.
Cara as well.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was 8 when I had my first active shooter drill in school
Unbelievable.
in
Oh
California.
Unbelievable.
my
Yeah.
God.
And of course, the
Yeah.
America you left in 2022 is very different to what's happening now. What do you
Very.
feel like when you're in Greece and you're looking at all that? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad I left when I did. I had this feeling last year. Not only were we just so happy to be back in Syros, but I just remember telling my husband we were excited to be back, but we still had plans of let's travel here, let's go here. And I told my husband, I said, I think we need to go ahead and get the visa. And he was like, are you sure you want to rush into that? And I'm like, we need to have a second residency lined up
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, I saw what was happening in the US. I saw the trajectory of Donald Trump being able to be elected. I saw the turmoil that was coming down the road. And I said, you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry and to know that we have some place to be legally, that we have an additional residence. And I talk about this to my clients and my followers all the time is right now is really essential that you secure residency abroad. We always talk about having multiple streams of income, but I think also having multiple options for residency is really important because at least I know that I can be somewhere legally abroad versus my home country of the United States.
You've got a following on your social media. Tell us a little bit about how that began, that journey, and what you offer. And of course, tell us your social media handles.
Yeah.
People can start following Cara and the traveling family.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually first started because we were vegan for a really long time. So I actually first started social media as being a food blogger because I wanted to travel, but I was broke. So I did time, which
Yeah.
was I could cook. So I cooked and I did different food reviews at different restaurants and things around Austin. And when I had my daughter and really started doing some research into moving abroad, I decided to utilize TikTok to talk about my frustrations about living in the US, being a new mom, all of those things, and talking about the potential of living abroad. And so I really started just putting all of that content on TikTok. And I remember I had a viral post after they overturned Roe v. Wade in the United States. And I started asking people, which countries do you want me to start comparing?
Yeah.
So we can help each other get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that post went viral. And I feel like, honestly, within a week, I had 100,000 followers on
Wow.
TikTok.
Unbelievable.
So it was really fast that my
Yeah.
account grew.
Yeah.
And so I really just started helping people compare countries. So people would say, oh, you compare Canada for us? Will you compare Mexico, Costa Rica? So I'm in the travel industry myself. So I
That
have
helps.
done a lot of travel. Yeah. So I did a lot of research for people. And so then it became, okay, I'm going to start comparing countries in real life. And we went to Portugal, we went to Belize, Greece, Mexico. So we were living in all these different places. And really, I not only try to make content about how beautiful a place is, but also if people want to travel there, people want to move to these places. I talk about some of the pros and the cons about these places. If you do decide you want to move to these places, what are the visa options that are available? So I really try to help people with a lot of the logistics versus just top 5 places to go in Greece.
Exactly. Yeah.
Coming up next, our legal segment with Natasha Karamiho, your trusted voice on Greek legal matters for the diaspora and beyond. Before we begin, please note, the following segment is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Always consult a qualified legal professional for advice specific to your situation. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not represent formal legal counsel.
Hello, I'm Natasha Karamichou, and in this podcast, I will continue exploring inheritance rules under the Greek law. As we have already explained, the inheritance can arise either through a will or in the state without a will. Let's start analyzing the inheritance through a will. How is it defined? The succession by will gives the state the right to determine the person he or she wishes to inherit him or her, but at the same time obliges the state to assign a part of the inherited property to certain relatives, such as the children or the spouse in life, who, even if they are not included in the will as heirs, are entitled to receive a percentage of the inheritance through the reserved share rule. The civil code provides for 3 types of wills: the private will, the public will, and the secret will. The private will is written in full by the testator's hand, dated and signed by him or her. A public will is drawn up by a declaration of the testator's last will and testament before a notary public with witnesses present. For the drawing up of the secret will, the testator shall, in the presence of witnesses, hand over to the notary public a document stating orally that this document contains his or her last will and testament. A renunciation of will action is also predicted and has to be made within 4 months since the declaration of the will by the court in this case. If no renunciation action has taken place within 4 months from the court declaration of the will, then the heirs are deemed to have made an implicit acceptance of the inheritance made to them through the will. In the case of a will, the declaration of acceptance of the inheritance, which is prepared by the notary public together with the preparation of the declaration for the payment of inheritance tax, must also follow. What specific actions need to be taken? Declaration of death of the deceased to the fiscal authorities. Deposit of the will at the court where the deceased residence belongs, or where the residence of the person who possesses the will belongs. This is a lengthy procedure that can reach almost 300 days, namely a year, before a will is declared by the court. If the residence of the deceased is abroad, the declaration of the will take place at the consulate. If the heirs also wish to renounce the inheritance, they must notify the court accordingly. After the publication of the will from court, the preparation and payment of the inheritance tax is required at the fiscal authorities. After the signing of the acceptance contract, the heirs have to submit an epsilon tax document in which the inherited property will be listed. The inherited property needs to be lodged in κτηματολόγιο or in κτηματολόγιο if the real estate property is concerned. What we need to keep in mind is that the law regarding the declaration of will is about to change, probably from the beginning of September 2025, and wills are going digital, since the registry for unpublished wills is coming. The registry will be managed by the Notaries Association, and all wills, handwritten, secret, and public, will be published without revealing their content, respecting all the necessary guarantees of secrecy. Private wills will be deposited at a notary by the testator himself and not through a third party. The notary will enter and post the will on an online platform, and at the date of death of the testator, the platform will provide the appropriate code to open the file and allow the notary to publish the will. These changes intend to simplify the process and increase security in terms of drafting, filing, and publishing wills, as well as introducing a new institution that will facilitate the administration of the estate for as long as the testator is still alive. However, we should not forget the legal actions that can be taken during life, such as parental provision under Article 1509 of the Civil Code, and the establishment of a gift, donation, during life to any third party for any real estate or an undivided share thereof, located within the Greek territory in full ownership, part ownership, or in usufruct. A parental provision is a contract between a parent and the child, whereby the parent gives his or her property to the child free of charge in order to support the child's family, financial or professional life, while the child is still alive. What we need to have in mind is that there are legitimate options for the transfer of inheritance. The appropriate legal assistance will guide us to choose the one that suits us most.
First international location marks the debut of Roasting Warehouse outside Australia, a major global expansion milestone.
Prime location in Neos Cosmos, nestled in the cultural heart of Athens, easily accessible and surrounded by vibrant local life. A fusion of Roasting Warehouse's signature Melbourne-style cafe experience with the local Athenian vibe.
Partnered with Nikos Antsaras, two-time Hellenic barista champion, bringing world-class expertise and credibility.
Specialty coffee, locally roasted. High-quality beans roasted with precision and passion, offering a rotating menu of single origins and blends.
Curated food menu, Australian-inspired brunch, fresh pastries, and seasonal dishes tailored for the Greek palate.
Designed for experience. A stylish, modern cafe space built for connection, creativity, and quality coffee moments.
Hosting events, barista trainings, and tastings to engage local coffee lovers and professionals. Dream big, and life is better with great coffee.
Please follow the Greek Podyssey and follow Cara West. You'll get positive things and beautiful things.
Only positive things. Just a last question before we say goodbye, Cara. What would you suggest, what you advise to someone that he wants to move to Greece?
Yeah, I think anytime I'm working with a client who is interested in moving abroad, one of my biggest pieces of advice is for them to take some time, if they have the flexibility, to go for anywhere between a month to 3 months. Because one of the things that I find is people say, oh my gosh, I want to move to Greece. It's so beautiful. I was there for a week. And it's like, all right, you're on vacation and living here are two different things. And that goes for anywhere. I thought Mexico was going to be the place that we were going to call home. But after we were there for 6 weeks, I realized there was a lot of things that were non-negotiables for me that I really needed in my every day-to-day life, that I found that Greece was a better fit. So I really find that if people have the flexibility, especially if they're working remotely, take that time, do a longer stay, and also pick some places that I think everybody feels drawn to certain places. Maybe they're a countryside type of vibe, or maybe it's the city, or maybe it's an island. Thinking about what are you drawn to, but also being open to trying something different. I never thought like an island would be somewhere I'd call home. I always thought I was more of a city person, but after trying out different types of locations, I quickly realized what was important for me and important for my family. And I find that once you're living somewhere, you're working somewhere, you're having to do your laundry, you're having to cook, you're like all those things that you don't typically do on vacation that you're going to start doing when you're living somewhere really shows you, okay, what's really important to me in my everyday to-day life that maybe I wouldn't have thought about before. So definitely being able to just take time and trying it out and being open to places that maybe weren't necessarily on your list, because you never know. It might be a better fit for you.
Yeah.
You're absolutely beautiful. You're wonderful. You've been such a delight to have on our
Thank
podcast.
you so much.
We've enjoyed it so much, haven't we, Nicole?
I feel blessed
Yeah.
to have Cara.
You've given us a
and
gift.
to listen to all that she has to say about Greece.
You look emotional, Nicole.
I am,
Yeah.
because I really admire people that they love Greece.
You're actually giving life a go.
And
Yeah.
that's all it takes to be called Greek.
Yes.
That's all it takes
but
to be.
I-
You don't have to have the stamp on your passport that says that
But
you're
there's another
Greek.
moral to this story. Cara, most people tend to think, okay, this is my lot and this is what I'm going to live with. But Cara made a conscious decision with her husband and said, you know what? I can change my life and I can do with my life whatever I want. And you took that step and you stepped out into another zone. And now you're living something that few people would dare to imagine, not because they can't, they just don't want to take that step. And you took that step.
Yeah.
And I really admire you for that. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll
And I'm
see,
able
Ross.
to continue to inspire people to do this. I think I really want to just inspire families, especially women, to just be the architect of their life and know that if they want to change their life and if they want other opportunities that maybe not coming to them in the place that they're at, changing your surroundings, your location can truly do so many wonders. I've met so many incredible people like yourselves and had so many incredible experiences. I remember we were literally on a boat going to Delos, actually, the island of Delos. And on our way back to Syros, our boat was swarmed by a pod of baby dolphins in the Aegean
Wow.
Sea. And I just thought,
Woohoo.
this is it.
Have you been to Crete?
Not yet. We're actually going in September.
Nicholas from Crete.
Oh my
Half
goodness.
Crete,
No
half
way.
Thessaloniki, half Crete, half
Have you been to
Thessaloniki.
Thessaloniki? Have you been to Thessaloniki?
No, this is somewhere that's on our list because I just learned about Kavala, which is not
Ooh,
too
my
far
dad
from
is from
Thessaloniki.
Kavala.
I've heard it's beautiful.
My dad is from Kavala.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thessaloniki is the foodie capital.
Stunning.
Nick
Yes,
is the
then I
foodie
need
capital.
to go.
Yes. It's very artistic city.
You will suit
Yeah, it's
Thessaloniki.
very romantic and artistic.
Yeah.
And,
No,
Oh,
it's beautiful.
That sounds incredible.
it's been a blessing, Cara, having you in our podcast. I'll say that again. And I
I'll
want to
call
thank
you.
you from the deepest of my heart. And I consider you as part of our family,
Thank you.
the Greek
Thank you
family.
so much.
Thank you, Cara.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And I'll call you when I'm in Syros. We're definitely having dinner.
Yes, please. Let's do it. I
Okay.
already have a place in mind.
Much love to you. Thank you.
Send
thank
me some
you.
photos.
Yeah,
please.
we will. We'll do a little spot interview as well when I'm in Syros. Take care and
Yes.
enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you so
Love
much.
you. Thank you.
Cara.
Bye, bye, bye.
Blessings.
How do you feel, Nico? I just fell in love with Cara.
Yes.
She was an incredible, inspirational young woman. She shared her experiences on what it's like to leave where you're from, Austin, Texas, anywhere in the world. She lives in Greece. She sent a very powerful message that you can change your life and own your life. And what she said was powerful, that you create your destiny. And she's done that. She's a living example of that and a good inspiration.
Very
So
brave family. Very brave family.
And
They
she's
did
loving
that big
life.
steps. Yes.
we all need to take a leaf out of that book.
Yes. So you guys, if you want to follow Cara, we're going to share
Cara West, please follow her on Instagram.
all
and all her social media,
social
TikTok,
media.
YouTube.
And yeah, but I was waiting to hear something like negative.
And she didn't have anything.
She didn't have anything to say.
Well, she's living on a perfect island.
She lives in a perfect
Syros.
country, not
Yeah.
a perfect island
Yeah.
only.
The key message that I had from Cara is the philotimo. She didn't know the word, she learnt the word, but everything she described amounted to
It was the
philotimo.
philotimo, yes.
And the
exactly.
Greek way of philotimo, embracing, engaging, warm, loving, all those things. And it was good to hear it from an outsider's perspective. And when I say outsider, someone that doesn't have a Greek background.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we love Philhellenes.
Because everything could have gone wrong
Of
for
course.
her.
Absolutely.
But it all worked out.
She's now part of the American diaspora who's made Greece her home. And from what she shared with us, she feels home when she goes back to Greece.
Yes.
Like she obviously has family back in Texas, but when she visits Texas, she looks forward to going back to her home in Greece. Greece welcomes her. We love her. And I think we should get her back in about 6 months' time
yeah.
just to see
to have an
what's
update,
changed.
to see
Yeah,
how
an
it goes.
update. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. I'm leaving this podcast with my heart full of beautiful emotions. And I feel blessed, honestly, that we have Cara sharing her story with us here tonight.
Yep. I'm excited to meet Cara in person when I go to Syros. She's amazing. her some of the things that I've experienced as a Greek person that visits Syros. Yep, I've enjoyed this podcast very much.
You better support the girl. I'm telling you now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are here for you, Cara.
And I know you are here for us.
Follow
as
us
well.
on the Greek Podyssey on our YouTube and subscribe, on our Instagram, Facebook, because don't assume that everything is the same. Sometimes we'll have different things on Instagram, different things on Facebook. All our podcasts are uploaded on YouTube and, of course, all streaming platforms.
That's all for
That's
tonight.
it, and we'll see you at the next podcast.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so
See you in the
much.
next one.
See you next time.
Bye.
I'm Christine Stavropoulos,
Κι εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της Ομογένειας.
a podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs, and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας.